What's up, nerds? Welcome back to my channel, guys. Welcome to another day of Nerdmas. I don't know what day we're on because I've just been filming whenever I feel like it and, you know, whatever. Just whenever I can, that whole night. So I'm not actually counting, so we'll see what day it is. You guys will be the first to know, of course. Anyway, as you guys saw by the title, we'll be talking about books nobody told us were in third person. I know. People go, they really do. They'll go in depth about like reviews. They're talking about like tropes, like you know, genres. Like they'll go into depth like about different things. No one ever tells you whether it's third person or not. They just act like it's nothing. They're just like, oh yeah, like this book was so good, and I'm like, but it was in third person. Some people don't care. I know a lot of people who do, and so that's why I thought this video would be a super fun. I thought this idea was a super fun video just because I'm like, I know that there are people out there who are like me and they care. Even if they read them eventually, I feel like for me, I just want to know. So we're going to talk about 15 different books and book series that we didn't know were in third person. First, if you guys like, I don't know, if you guys like all the nerdy things, then definitely just give this video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and without further ado, let's just get started. Okay, I wanted to book the definition. I wanted to go through because honestly, this is stuff you learn in like school, but if you do not pay attention, it's one of those things that you kind of just, you never feel like you have to know it until you need to know it. You know what I mean? Like, first, second, third person, like whatever. I don't know. I feel like for me too, the only other reason why it's come up in my life is because I know sometimes, like when I started writing, like different books ideas that I've had, I've like started writing, and I think sometimes I will switch point of views without realizing it, whatever. Point being is that it's come up in my head, but I know like normal people you just probably don't even think about it unless you're like a pretty deep reader or unless you're writing or something. You know what I mean? Like it's not, you don't really even think about it. But I looked it up. So it's a third person point of view. In third person narration, the narrator exists outside of the events of the story and relates the actions of the character by referring to their names or by the third person pronouns, he, she, or they. Okay, so there is no I did this, I went here, it's she did this, or, you know, Stacy did that. You know what I mean? It's like that. I have read, again, I have 15 here that I've read already, so I think 1, 2 I didn't read, but for the most part I've read them, and for me, I feel like third person can very easily take you out of the story. I feel like when you're saying I and you're reading someone say I, it puts you in the story. You feel a part of the story. Whereas someone in third person, it feels like someone is telling you the story, which is basically what it is. It's like, you know, someone is outside of it telling you that they did this and they went there and she did that. And so it's not my favorite, and I've read them. For me, I just don't like to be surprised. I don't want to find out, like, be so excited about a book and then find out that it's in third person. Again, I've read them, and I have some books that are favorites that are in third person, but I just feel like it's something that, like, I don't know why nobody tells you guys about. Like, no one tells me. I've never heard anybody on the YouTube world say, hey, this book is in third person. Because people, I mean, some people, again, just don't care. But a lot of my friends in, like, in real world, a lot of my friends will not read third person books. They just won't. And so I feel, I'm like, ooh, dang. But, it's just the truth, and so I know that there's a group of people out there. So this one's for you. Let's jump right in because I'm talking a lot. First things first, this book, I actually DNF'd this series. This is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. It's Hades and Persephone retelling. She has like 80 million books with this series. She has like them. Here's the thing. When you write third person, it like often you'll focus on one person's side or one or two people's side. So that's the thing why I think a lot of authors like to write in third person, because you can be very fluid with who's because what you're showing the reader. If you're reading something that says I, you know, it has to be very specific of who's talking. Whereas you're saying she or like so and so, you know, Hades did this, you can obviously switch to Hades did that, and then the next line can be Persephone did that. You know what I mean? Like it could be a little bit more. You have a little bit more leeway, but again, I think it gets confusing sometimes. Blah blah blah. Long story short. She wrote like, I think it's the same series, but one is like mostly from Persephone's side. So Persephone did this, Persephone did that, Persephone blushed. And then the other book series is Hades did that, Hades did this, you know what I mean? And so it's just like a lot for being in third, it just gets confusing. It takes you out of the story. You're just a little bit like, huh? And so, I know this is a very popular series right now, or at least I've seen it quite a bit. So I'm letting you know that this book is in third person, just so you know. And they're not super big, but they're decently sized. This is more fantasy again. It's like fantasy meets real world kind of vibe. So it's not like this super complex fantasy, but it has certain elements that I think that it's very easy to get lost. And I did read this during like a 24-hour reading challenge, which was definitely a mistake. Like I need to not read third person books during a 24-hour reading challenge because it's a lot. Again, it gets confusing, but and it's not a bad book by any means. I don't even know what I gave it, like 3 stars or something like that, 3.5 maybe. But just keep that in mind. Just keep it in mind because no one wants to tell you that that one's in third person. These two, I feel like, honestly, most people for the most part know, but I'll just remind you. So, A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas is actually in multiple point of views. So, it's from from Feyre and Ryzen's point of view, but which is in first person, but then you get like Nesta and Cassian, which is in third person. So it kind of jumps around a lot, which can get very confusing as well. And so also just keep that in mind when you're reading this one. It's super short, so it's not like too bad. Like you kind of catch on, but just so you know, it does jump around in point of views. And so it'll say like I, you know, for Feyre, but then when you get to Nesta, it'll say she and Nesta and that kind of stuff. But just so you know, because again, that series is popular, but I haven't heard too many people talking about it. This one isn't fully This is fully in third person. It's Nesta Cassian. So we'll go back and be like back and forth. It'll be like a chapter. Nesta did this, she did that, blah blah blah. She felt that, and then it'll go to like Cassian's point of like side, and be like Cassian did this, Cassian did that, which is nice because they still have multiple perspectives, which is nice because obviously that just makes for a good book when you get to see both sides of it. But I really did love this book. I do wish it was like in first person because I feel like I would love it even more because I love this book so much. But it was not bad. This one was one of my favorites, even though it was in third person. But just so you know, I feel like those two are probably the most obvious out of this whole stack, but it's fine. Oh my gosh, this is the O'Malleys by Katie Robert. She just repackaged them, and so I started picking them up while they got repackaged, and I think that was just like Katie Roberts, like, it's a few books, has a few series in third person. There's another one that I had started it and I realized it was in third person, so I stopped it and I was like, yeah, no, because that's why I like softly DNF'd this series as well, because it's not a necessity to read. I don't need to read it. It's not that good. Like, it's a series in general, but then it even makes it worse is because it's in third person, so it's like, again, like, it like feels like you're outside of the story. You know, and you think about like someone telling you a story, you know, even if it's like a friend telling you a story about anyone. It could be, so she could be saying she did this and she did that, whatever. It's like, or like when you're a kid and you're getting told a story, like there's something special about being told a story. There is, but it has to be a specific story, you know. Like if it's a boring story, you don't want to hear it, but like if it's this cool, like she was a princess, and you know, like the fun stuff obviously makes it more fun. And that's why I feel like this one was just like whatever, but it's in third person. I'm going to mention both of these because I believe all of Tessa Bailey's books are, I believe all of them, but from the ones I've seen, Tessa Bailey does write in third person, which I actually, again, love these books so much. I love this one the most, better than this one. And this is kind of where at first I was like, when I first started, I was like, heck no, I will never read third person ever in my life. This one actually, really was one of the first ones that I was like, okay, but like I can get past the for third person if it's really good. And this one was really good. It was very fun. Like it's Grumpy Sunshine. Like this is just a really good book. But just so you know, I would read before you buy, if you don't like third person, before you buy a Tessa Bailey book, I would just check, because some of the ones of the other ones too that I've checked were in third person. So this one is It Happened One Summer, and then this one is Hook, Line, and Sinker, and this one I liked a little bit less. And again, this is one that probably I would have liked more if it was not in third person. So it just goes, you know, it just depends, you know, it really does depend. I had to take a little Chick-fil-A break. Because, you know, Chick-fil-A, it's Chick-fil-A. Okay, next book. This is by Sophie Sullivan. This is How to Love Your Neighbor. I'm sure people just don't, I mean, I haven't heard anyone really talk about this. I did see on Rachel Catherine's TBR cart, she actually has this book, but I don't really see that many people talking about it, but I saw it in the bookstore one time, and I was like, oh, the back sounds good, but it is in third person. This one was harder to read because, again, it wasn't, like, super exciting or anything like that. It was just kind of like a cute little fun romance, but, like, I want to feel it. Wasn't feeling that one, but I wanted to mention that. Okay, then we have these two, both by Stephanie Garber. We have Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart. Again, third person, baby. This one is, these are two of my, well, this series, the Caraval series is my favorite, but I did really love the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. So honestly, like, these are books that I didn't mind that were in third person. I did like listening to these on Audible though, because it felt like, again, someone was telling you this story. But since it's adventure, like a little bit of magic, like super exciting like that, I feel like it was the perfect kind of book to be in third person, you know what I mean? Because it was like telling you a story. It felt like a good time. You don't feel like you're missing anything or like missing anything emotionally. I've talked about these a lot though because they're just incredible. They're a fun time. And you get to know the characters. You love the characters. Like there's nothing, again, you don't lose anything with these because Stephanie Garber really has the magic touch when it comes to like third person books. Like I'm not gonna lie, these are probably the best. These are definitely some of the best third person written books that I've read, and because again, you don't want to miss anything. Like you don't want to miss anything emotionally again, like when you're reading a book, but that's what I feel like happens with some third person books, but not those. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Then we have Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I did not like this book. I just recently talked about it though. I think that it might have been better if it was not in third person. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I might have liked it better. I just felt like it wasn't the book that I wanted to be in third person. It wasn't the book, wasn't the story that I liked. I didn't like anything about this book, and people really like this book. I don't know why, but it is in third person. People talk about this book all the time. No one tells you that it's in third person. Just so you know. So, be prepared. Also, third person. I was so mad. I read these like back to back, and I was like, why are all of these in third person? And this book also makes me mad. This one also could have had, I would have liked to think even just a little bit more if it was in like first person, because I feel like it's just, it's fun. It was a cute story. It wasn't like anything though exceptional. And like, that's the problem I feel like too, is that like sometimes it takes a really incredible story and makes it like downplays it a little bit because you feel a little bit disconnected. And so that's what I think happened with this one, because it was like so fun. There were some funny moments, that kind of stuff, but then you feel like almost like an outsider looking in versus someone on the inside. Especially that story. This book I also did not like, and I also think I probably would have liked it more. I probably would have liked it more if this one was in first person as well. I just did not like this book, and so many people talked about this like this Halloween season, and I'm like, guys, can you please like warn me when you recommend a book, please? Because this one, I think it also just like, it was already like a very corny, cheesy book, which is fine. Again, sometimes I like corny, cheesy books, of course, like, you know, sometimes they're the best, but like I feel like when it was in third person, it was just like even more like, what do I be reading? Do I want to read this? That whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. Only a few more books here. That is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I also didn't know. I didn't know what to expect from this book, basically. I feel like I could see why it's in third person, but I didn't know what to expect because I don't think The Hunger Games, I think The Hunger Games is right? Hold on. Is in first person, right? Yeah, so the regular Hunger Games is in first person. I just feel like, obviously, since it's like similar world, like not Katniss, I could see why they wanted to do it in third person. I just feel like this was really hard to put in third person when you're gonna make like a movie out of it, because then it's like, why read the book? Like, I might as well just watch the movie because that's so much easier, so much simpler. Yeah, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I got to chapter 3 and I just got super bored, and so I have it on my Audible as well, but I just have no desire to read it. I already watched the movie, but I did really like the movie. I just have no desire to go through the journey that is a third person book. Like, you know, like I said, also I've been reading so many recently. So many came out of nowhere, and that's kind of what inspired this video, because so many I read and I was so caught off guard with so many of them. And I was like, no, like, this is unacceptable, like, truthfully. I'm so mad about it. Like, can you not? Anyway, we also have Cassandra Clare, the sword catcher. No one warned me. Nobody warned me. I was so excited about it. It is so annoying, though. Like, so annoying. Because I'm like, this is a very unique story. But I feel like what this one is like, already off the bat, again, I'm only on chapter 2. But off the bat, I just am like a little bit confused. It's like a little bit hard to follow along. And then, so it starts off, the prologue is freaking mad long. Like 45 pages or something like that, and then it goes to chapter 1, but prologue and chapter 1 are both in they're in third person, but it's the guy, I think his name is Ken or something like that, and then chapter 2 starts off with a girl, some girl we don't know, like we don't know anything about her, and then it's in third person, like now you really don't know anything about her. It just gets confusing, and it just is annoying. And I think this is one of those like more complex fantasies, it seems like, because it's creating a world that I've never seen before, obviously. But like even down to like, I don't know, just little things that you're like, I don't even know what that word means. What is it? Like, why did you write that? Like that kind of stuff. And then it's in third person. It's just all kinds of like, no. So I just I'm not about it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to read it. Okay, this though is another one of my favorites though that was just written. It is in third person though, but I love this book so freaking much. I just recommended this to my friend today. I just am obsessed. It's a really incredible book, and I think there's something special too about Rebecca Ross's writing, the story she chose, and then to write it in third person. Again, this one is not super complex. It's not this huge world building thing. It's very chill, but very just like short and simple, and just so good though. It still has like a magical fantasy element, but there's also, you know, some romance. There's so much to it without it being too much, if that makes sense. That being said, all because it's third person. Like, I feel like if it was, you know, like if it was first person or whatever, they could probably get away with other stuff, or like adding more, you know, that whole 9, you know, like whatever, you can get away with some other stuff, but because it's in third person, I feel like she had to write it very specifically, and I feel like she did that. I think it was great. You love Iris, you love Rowan. I have not read this. It's been a while since I read this. Anyway, though, her writing is just so stunning, even though it's in third person. So I love this book. Again, it's not every third person book is not created equal, just the same way, like, you know, every other book is not created equal, you know, like there is no right formula. Sometimes books work, sometimes books don't, sometimes people like books that you don't like it just happens that way. I just wanted to kind of show you guys, like, these are the books that are in third person that I know are like more popular, or like I know I've never heard anyone say, hey, this book is in third person, and I was caught off guard with most of these. So again, that's why I wanted to share them. You might love to read third-person books. You might not even care. You might not have noticed the difference, which I know some people just don't even notice, but that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, why? I think if you're someone who wants to read some of these popular books and doesn't like to read third person, a great tip that I just started to do was listening to them on Audible. And like, I know not a lot of people like to listen to books on Audible, but I feel like it's almost better because you are being told the story, obviously. And so it's a different, like, a kind of a different feel versus you trying to put yourself in the story. It's kind of like, no, someone's telling you the story, and it's a little bit easier to read them, and so get through them, if you will. So that's my advice. But anyway, guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, nerds. Oh, I almost sound like that. Okay, bye nerds.